Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Your piece there about a lack of initiation is a poignant one. I mean, all of that was quite interesting and poignant, but traveling on with the conversation, it's an important one on various levels, from sexuality to coming of age to even medicine work. In particular, I'm going to ask you about iboga in a minute, but the comment you made about pornography, I think, is interesting from your perspective as someone who is a uh, tantric healing practitioner, someone working with sexuality in that regards. What do you see as the impact on a regular diet of pornography for a person?
This is a
On
great
like
question.
their like specifically on their perspective of what it means to relate, as well
Yeah.
as on their capacity to enter into more profound states of sexual trance.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And just to backtrack a little bit, first, I also wanted to address the sacred prostitute.
Hmm.
That term is actually one I learned from Shoshana when she was teaching us about histories of women. And it is an archetype, is what I'm referring to. And there's a beautiful book called The Sacred Prostitute that not only goes into all kinds of history across the spectrum of humanity, all different times and cultures, but it frames it in terms of Jungian psychology. Um, so that's a great book if someone wants to learn about this archetype that uh, germinates life and pollinates life and brings richness and color and delight, and desire to life. Um, and jumping forward, the effect of pornography. I would really love to see some great high frequency erotic art that actually transmitted authentic Shakti. And when I say Shakti, I don't mean just sexual pleasure. I mean activated states of awareness, activated states by the creative, primal, passionate energy. Um, we're not seeing that. That's a transmission that when you see that and feel that, it's palpable. It's like sound healing. It like comes through your body and communicates so much that's ineffable. And that's not in porn. And so that I have ever seen, with one exception, with one exception, I've seen a few really amazing artistic things, but mostly it's a lot of acting, and the actors are often on substances. It's puppetry, and we need, as mammals, we need sexual modeling. So many mammals have to figure out what's going on. It's not like it. No, it's not always a completely natural instinct, maybe on its very base level. But as far as the art and the potential, especially the spiritual potential of sexuality, we need modeling. And just like we are born to crave intellectual stimulation, we're born to seek erotic stimulation. It makes us want to be alive. We're programmed, and it's natural and it's healthy. But it's just so sad that all that porn is not nourishing, not teaching. And then in the relation, this is something I've heard, of troubles in relationships where porn reinforces the male ego rather than dissolves it, which is the real peak sexual experience, is the ego dissolution, is that merging, that union with the divine. So it reinforces the ego and the female ego too. There's a lot of acting. I mean, that was one stage of my development, was figuring out the mask and the acting and wanting to go deeper than that. So men are not taught through pornography the real ways to connect with their partner. And I've heard of, like, one friend of mine, her partner was dealing with a severe porn addiction, and so much entrainment around secrecy and hiding and falling back into the hiding and shaming himself about it. I don't think that's helpful at all. I don't think shaming it is the way. Condemning it is never going to heal anything. But she would notice that when he was making love to her, he was somewhere else. And this is something that so many women have felt, and maybe men too, of feeling that their partner is in a fantasy with someone else's face on it, somewhere else. And that is the worst feeling in the world, to feel like your soul isn't being addressed through your body. Their soul isn't being reached through your body, that you're just meat. Mm-hmm. And that is where couples really disconnect. And there might be a release of fluid, but it doesn't mean there was a connection.
Mm-hmm. I've heard the metaphor, I guess, or a reference of it being like ultimately just like masturbating with another person's body.
Yep, that's a great, and I've heard that straight out of a man's mouth before. that was their relationship to a lover, and that's where some people are at. So I have seen what's interesting, more awareness that men are practicing around their habitual natures with porn. And it is a really serious and widespread addiction. More than people realize. I'm hearing about it. There's forums on the internet for support. And I don't know if total abstinence is really the answer. In fact, I think entering into it and finding and making quality erotic art is probably more friendly, because there's so much shaming and dualistic thinking and tension and taboo that can get charged with it. So that's my thoughts.